How are you? I had to do a little bit of the Dire Straits. They were in my head all week. I don't know why. I was just singing that song to myself all week, and I was like, I'm going to open the show with that one this week. I forgot how fun that video is. I haven't seen it in a while. And it's just, I don't know, it's just fun. And I love the drum solo in the very beginning. Who opens a song with a drum solo? That's crazy. Anyways, welcome, everybody, to the next show will be better. It's the Hickson Diaries live stream. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, we talk about everything that's going on in my life as an American living here in the UK. If you are new, thanks for taking a chance on us. I appreciate it. If you are returning, I appreciate you coming back. I hope you guys enjoy. This is where we talk about the real stuff, the real important stuff. You know, like, is there a dress code for pubs? Today's all about pub culture, and we're going to talk about some stuff that's going on with the channel. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm your host, Mandy, if you guys haven't met me before. And yeah, we have the live chat open, so make sure you drop all your comments, questions, concerns, hot takes, and we will be reading them out as we go. And don't be shy, because I want to learn all about my new home, and I definitely want to get to know you guys a little bit better. I could use another friend. You guys have seen my recent post. I can use as many friends as I can possibly gather at this point in my life. Yeah, and I'm happy to discuss your comments, questions about these topics, or anything else you guys want to talk about. So thank you for joining me, and welcome. Who we got today? We got Falco, what's up? We got Disco. Are you changing your name on me? You changed your name on me, bro. That's a surprise. But I like Disco, because I like disco. So you might be doing that just to flatter me, and it will work. Manny, how are you? Good evening to you as well. Thank you guys for being here. Hope everybody is doing well so far. Giant Haystacks, thanks for joining. Appreciate you a lot. Imogen Harrison, good taste, the Dire Straits fans. Thank you and welcome. Appreciate that. Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares to You. Oh, love that song. My heart breaks every time I hear it. She does such a good job on that song. I'm with you, Giant Haystack. Lorena Sankey, thank you for joining. Welcome. It's been 7 hours and 15 days. Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. She was such a controversy in America because during her tour in America, she wouldn't let the facilities, we play the national anthem before everything, and we do it before concerts as well. And she wouldn't let the national anthem play because she's like, I'm not American, I'm Irish, and I don't want that to go, and it's my show. And it was a huge controversy. I remember that. And I remember thinking, who cares? It's not that big a deal. I'm not going there to hear the national anthem anyway. I'm going there to hear her, so who cares? But it was a big controversy because it's America. Everything's controversy for no reason. Oh, thank you, Manny. I appreciate that. I know I can count on you. A couple of you guys have reached out since my last video, sending me warm wishes and regards, and I appreciate that. Thank you. I've noticed a huge increase in the Exit Reddit thread of late. Have you engaged with the threads to share your experience at all? No, I'm not a big fan of Reddit that much, to be honest. I feel like it's kind of like a gossip column, like those gossip magazine kind of things, and I don't really like that much. But I'm not surprised that there's a huge online conversation about leaving the United States at the moment with everything that's been going on. So, but I can check some stuff out. I do every once in a while check out some Reddit posts. When I'm searching for something, a Reddit post will come up and I will go and read it. but it's not something that I follow regularly. Hello, TJ. Welcome. Glad to have you. TJ's quiz was so much fun on Saturday, you guys. I'm just saying. I definitely learned that I don't know a lot. And I know that I'm definitely pretty old. I'll tell you that. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Thanks, you guys, again for being here. Now, I need to start the show off with something a little bit personal. And I know that she's going to get embarrassed by this, but I don't care. I'm going to have to talk about it. I'm bragging for a moment about my kid. I don't normally talk about her that much on the show, but I've realized today how awesome my kid is, and I just need to share it. She is killing it in school. She's like speaking a whole bunch of languages. She's in a couple grammar streams. Her addiction is reading, and she only really spends money on books. She volunteers at a local church. We were talking about her 18th birthday, and she wanted to do something big to celebrate, blah, blah, blah. It's a few years away, but we have to plan these things well ahead of time. But anyway, she was saying, she was saying she doesn't want to go out and party and get drunk with her friends. Quote, "It's a waste of time and money. It tastes like shit. I'm not a fan of memory loss, and also I'm going to do all that just so I can feel sick the next day." I mean, wow. What 14-year-old that's thinking about their 18th birthday thinks like that? I have no idea what we're doing, but I'm going to keep doing it because apparently something's working. Anyway, I just have to throw that out there because when I was 14 and thinking about like my 18th birthday and all, and 21st in America, it's 21st birthday. But when I was thinking about 18 and going to college and hanging out with my friends and stuff, I didn't think like that. I wanted to party. I had already been partying probably for a couple of years by then. Like I wasn't as mature as her. God damn. I'm lucky. And I know how lucky I am. And I'm loving it. Thank God I only had one because I'm sure the second one would have been ruined. Anyways, I just had to take that. She's going to be super embarrassed, but I don't care. I'll cut that part out of the replay. But anyway. So, where are we in my thing here? Oh, so I do have some channel announcements. We want to get those out of the way first. First off is we made our first donation to the Royal British Legion this week, I should say. For those of you who don't know, who are new, or maybe you're watching this on the replay, you've never seen this before, a portion of all of our proceeds get donated to the Royal British Legion here in the UK. It takes care of veterans and their families. It is a organization that's very close to my heart. The channel is a partner in the Royal British Legion, the local chapter, and we've been raising money for them and sending proceeds every month to them anyway. But we're going to be doing a lot more fundraising, etc., throughout the year as well. But it's a really great organization. My father was a veteran in the United States, so it's something that's very important to me that you take care of your veterans and that you support them, especially for a lot of what they've been through. So yeah, let's catch up and see where we are with that, if you guys don't mind. So, as I said, we donate a portion of all the proceeds. That's before any like costs, expenses, or anything like that, right off the top every month. So we do make a donation every single month. So let's see how we're doing. keep you guys in the loop, and you can be part of all of the enormous fun that we had, because I'm fun. Anyway, congratulations to you guys so far, and thank you very much so far. So I wanted to get that out there and let you all know. The other thing that I need to announce to you guys is something new to complement the YouTube channel. We have a live Substack. For those of you who don't know, Substack is another platform where you can upload content. There are videos and things like that on there, but there's also a lot of people that write things and do storytelling and things like that. A lot of different kinds of artists on there. And I really enjoy writing. And so I wanted to try to get involved in something that was, linked to the channel, but something that was feeding that creative side of me as well. So there is a Substack for the Hickson Diaries. So my first post is live. I'm going to put the link. The link will be in the description box, and there will be a post on the community post tomorrow, but I will put the link in the chat if anyone wants to check it out. It's just basically just going to be personal reflections, maybe some tips, maybe some exclusive content if we get any subscribers. It's just like basically a piggyback onto the stuff that we do here on the channel, and maybe goes into a little bit more depth, a little bit more personal as well. Of course, with respect to everyone in my private life, but so you guys go check it out if you can. I appreciate it. If you can subscribe, that'd be great. If you can't, no big deal, but I do appreciate it if you can share all of that out there and see if we can grow our community out to other platforms. That would be super fun. And I just said super because I'm super American. Anyway, there will be a post in the community tab tomorrow about that too. Yeah. All right. Okay, so also, again, make sure you're checking the community tab regularly, because there is a lot of stuff in the pipeline that I'm working on behind the scenes that I'm not quite ready to announce yet, but it's coming, hopefully. Hopefully. Okay, pub culture in Britain. Let's do this. There was a poll put out this week, if I could find it, about what is your favorite thing about pub culture and the atmosphere in the UK. So let's see, 8% of you said events like pub quizzes, karaoke, and bands. 15% of you said the grub, classics like pies and roasts. 27% of you said the history and tradition, the role in the community that pubs play. And overwhelmingly, 50% of you said the social vibe, grabbing a pint with your mates. That was kind of what I thought was going to be the answer, to be honest with you, but I was curious anyway. It looks like there's 132 people that voted, so thank you for everyone that voted. And yeah, that's pretty much what I thought it was going to be. But I am happy to see that it's appealing to a lot of people in a lot of different ways. I like the history and tradition a little bit more, but that could be just because I don't have as much of a social life right now outside of my YouTube channel. I don't really have a big social life at the moment. So that might be why. But I did go and watch a football game at our local pub a couple weeks ago, and that was interesting. It was just me and my partner, but it was still a lot of fun. So I did enjoy that. So Doug Brown said, they're all important aspects of my local where I've drunk and been drunk for 30 years. Nice. Jim Forbes Wright says, all of the above in varying proportions depending on the pub, the company, and the occasion. That's fair. That's fair. Phil Hallbrook 7008 said, falling over hammered, drunk, and being picked up and brushed down by your loved ones. See, it's very rare that I got drunk with my loved ones. It was mostly with my friends and stuff. Um, and not many of them helped. But to be fair, they were all wasted as well. So and I was the only one that lived on my own at the time, so I would usually just get dropped off at my apartment, and then I'd be on my own to deal with my shit on my own. So, although I do remember one time I was out with my sister and some friends, and we had gone out to dinner before, and I was doing shots at dinner, and I was drunk by the time we got to the bar. And I remember getting to the bar, and I remember the band playing, and it started with a Bon Jovi song, which I grew up in New Jersey, and Bon Jovi is from New Jersey, so we always go crazy. So I remember like dancing and singing to the Bon Jovi song. Then I remember waking up the next day in my bed with just my underwear on. My hair was still in and everything. And I was like, I don't even know how I got home. Luckily, I was with my sister. She got me home. She was a designated driver anyway, so I didn't have to worry about it. But I remember calling her the next day and being like, "Did I take my clothes off in the bar?" She's like, "No, I got the private show, but thanks for that." Anyways, that's a really fun memory actually because I don't normally get wasted like that or a blackout or anything, but for some reason I did that weekend and then my sister was there. So it's a nice memory with my sister because it shows she actually cared, which was sus sometimes. Anyways, Chris Ward 8323 said all of the above. I agree. I haven't really been to a pub. I went to a pub where there was a Elvis impersonator, and that was fun. And then I've been to a pub just to chill and watch a game. I've been to a pub to like have pub lunch and stuff. My favorite thing to do is to go to and have a pub lunch in a brand new pub. And of course, I love the history and tradition. So I think all of the above would be my deal as well. But that's me. I'm like too obsessed. I think I might have a slight obsession with pubs. But in all fairness, when my very first visit to England, I was brought to a pub and had a pub lunch on like one of the first days that I was here. And I just fell in love with it from there. It was like one of my very first introductions to British life. So it might be, maybe it's just nostalgic for me or something, but I just love going to pubs. I just love the history of them. I love to see the different kinds of people that go there. I have lots of questions about it, though. We're going to get into in a minute. Anyway, if you guys didn't vote or you didn't see the poll, I'm curious if you guys have anything different that you would add or what your thoughts are about your favorite thing about going to the pub. The pubs are really different than the pubs here in the UK are very different than going out drinking in the US. It's a lot more extreme in the US. And it's a lot more of a party atmosphere. So think about like where you're 18 to 20 and you're going out clubbing to like get laid or whatever, right? That is like always the atmosphere in America when it's bars, or it's like super seedy and depressing because it's just a bunch of alcoholics or people who are just really, really upset or unhappy with their lives. So like it's not a fun, relaxed, kind of chill atmosphere like it is here. I really enjoy it. I really like it a lot. And because it's America, it's all about turnover. Like they don't want you to hang out. Like it's very rare that you'll just show up and have a pint and just be able to sit there and BS for a couple hours or something. But here you can do that all day long if you want. Like it's great. It's lovely. I love it. It's just everything in America is just so go, go, go. And everything in the UK is so not. And I think that the pub versus bar scene, the UK, US, the comparisons, I think, are very indicative. Anyway, my opinion. Curious what you guys think. Catching up in the chat. What do you think of someone saying the USA is better than the UK? That's an interesting question. FC, I think I butchered your name the last time you were on here. I'm so sorry. I'm going to call you FC. I hope that's okay. Abdurazak, is that it? Probably not. I probably put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. But everyone has a right to their opinion. I would ask them why they think that. And I mean, depending on their answer, I would agree or disagree. There are a lot of lovely things about the US. Lots of lovely things about the US. It's just really, really difficult to live there right now if you're an average, everyday person. And if you have kids. My problem isn't with the country. Most of the time, most of the people are normal, everyday people. They're just going to work, coming home, having dinner with their families, trying to make sure their kids are safe and have a future, trying to, retire with dignity, and just going about their days and trying to have some fun in the meantime. That's normal, everyday people. And that's pretty average wherever you go from my personal experience anyway. The problem with the US is the government and how it's run right now. And there's just no real guardrails at all. It's the wild friggin' West again, but it's throughout the entire country in many different ways. Visiting it is fantastic. Living there is very different though. But I like having those conversations though, FC, because I just like hearing other people's perspectives, especially if they're an American or if they've lived there for a bit. The people in Dubai don't like the Flintstones, but the people in Abu Dhabi do. Ha 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 ha! I'm old enough to remember watching the Flintstones on TV. Thanks for the reminder of how old I am, Giant Haystacks. Thanks, TJ. I don't brag often, especially about the child, but I just felt like she needed to have some recognition because she's killing it, and I'm really proud of her. Really proud of her. I was worried because just the transition, is really, really hard as it is, and she's in that formative year era. So, and she struggled as is normal. So, but she's doing it. She's doing great now. I'm really excited. Props to TJ. TJ hit 1,000 subscribers, so she had a really cool quiz last Saturday. You guys go check out her channel if you can. It's a lot of fun. She does a lot of like historical stuff around Liverpool and the surrounding areas. It's really fun. I learn a lot. People can change a lot in 4 years. Yes. We'll see what happens. Kids are different than us for sure. My daughter said the same at 14 and she is still the same at 24. Thank you for the well wishes as well. That's fantastic, and congratulations to you and your daughter. Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, but I had a very different upbringing than she did, so hopefully, I have to say that my partner and I made a very, very concerted effort to break some family trends that we grew up with. So hopefully that's kind of what's pushing her down the better path. I hope she sticks to what she says about drinking, because she doesn't want to follow my family's legacy. That's for sure. Can you not hear me? Oh, thank you so much, Chris Disco. I know, I can't believe we hit over 6,000 freaking subs, you guys. I'll turn my volume up just in case. It's so crazy. I don't know what's happened. I don't know what's happened in the in the last few months, but I'm not like hating on it or anything, of course, but I don't know. I'm kind of overwhelmed. I don't know really what to think of it. My I'm just a little bit nervous that like all of a sudden it's just gonna drop or something. I don't know. Ah. Imogen, you don't like pub quizzes, huh? I'm with you, TJ. I don't know what a social life is really. TJ, I never got drunk while out with my mates, and none of them were big enough to pick me up. Oh, I was a social drinker. I would only really get drunk with my friends. And then I've got drunk a couple times, like with my family and stuff, but it was very, very like special, like limited occasions. It was just a different dynamic in my family. Alcohol had its negative memories and stuff tied to it in my family. So, but when I was with my friends, it was always fun. So I think that's why I gravitated towards that. I have way too many drunken pub stories, but now I'm nearly 4 years sober. When I finally move back to the UK, things may change. Well, I mean, I'm glad you're 4 years sober. Congratulations. And it's about mindset. Just keep your mind going with where you are. I've found that living here in the UK as compared to the US is you have to seek out entertainment. It's not in your face like it is in America, where there's like advertisements of everything everywhere and there's always things to do because you always feel compelled to do them because they're always in your freaking face. Here, there's always stuff to do, but it's just you have to kind of like know it's out there or find it or look for it. So you might be okay. It's a very different environment than it is in the US. But power to you. And if you need any help or anything like that, just let us know, Lorena. And let us know when you get back to the UK. Hi, Mick. Nice to have you back. I had to stop going to my local pub because every morning after my hands would be cut and bruised. Dang. We have a bruiser in the mix. 18 to 20, I was working in a club on the doors. Really? Good for you. This goes to. Do they tip in American bars? Yes. So the tipping culture is one thing that's very different. So obviously here in the pubs, you don't really tip. It's more custom to like buy the bartender a drink if you want to. And I've even been in a situation where the person got insulted because I tipped them. They weren't like mean about it or anything. They were just like, no, I work for a living. You don't need to do that, which I totally understand. Now, I didn't mean any offense. It's just very, very hard for me to not tip just because of what I've grown up with and I've lived. So I was a bartender for a while in America. So I really lived on the tips. I needed the tips in order to survive. But yeah, there's tipping. The tipping culture is very prominent in America because service workers, not just bartenders, but waiters and, people who clear the tables and all that kind of stuff, they get paid like $2 an hour because they're supposed to get tipped. So it's like supposed to supplement it. So they can justify paying them nothing to work because they're going to get tipped. The problem with that is, number one, it derives from slave times, where once the enslaved people were freed in America, they were free and they could work, but there were laws where the owners of the establishments didn't have to pay them in actual money. So they would pay them in things like chickens and food and crop and things like that. And then the tip was actually like the patron saying, here, have some money because you worked. So that's really what it derives from in America. It's really stemmed still from that. And they justify the fact that you can only make $2 an hour. When I waited tables and bartended, I made $2 an hour. I know people who worked full time and didn't make enough to live. It's like that in most areas. There are places like California and some other more progressive states where the minimum wage for service workers is the same minimum wage as it is for anything else. And it's decent, It's not decent for California. It's like $15, I think, in California, maybe even 18. And California is really expensive, so it really doesn't go that far there. But you can tip on top of that. But in most places, it's not. Like when I lived in New Jersey, which is where I waited tables and bartended, I made $2 an hour. So I never really got a paycheck. I just got whatever cash it was that I earned that night. And the problem with that as well is if you have a bad night, like people don't come into the restaurant, or people just don't come and sit at the bar, you don't make any money. And you've worked an 8-hour shift and you literally walk out with like $20 in your pocket. It's ridiculous. So I personally would rather have the paycheck and not the tips. But I think that's a better system. I think if you're working, you should get paid, period. But that's the difference. I actually have a question about that too, when we get to the questions about the pub life, but I might as well bring it up now. So it is better to buy the bartender a drink rather than tip them. However, if you do tip, what is an appropriate amount for the bartender? So obviously waiting tables is a little different because it depends on how much food you have, how long you're there, all that. But like if you're just buying a drink, if you're just buying a pint and you want to tip the bartender, maybe you've been there all night or something like that, we would usually tip like $1. And then maybe if it's early in the night and we want to make sure we're taken care of because it's getting crowded, we might tip them like 20 and say, hey, remember us, because they will if you tip them 20. And then we'll give them like $1 or so every other round, depending on who's buying the round or, all that. What would be the appropriate amount here in that type of scenario? Would you, and then there was other scenarios where you would just tip $1 every time you go up and buy a drink. So what would be like, if you were going to tip a bartender, what would be the appropriate tip? Would it be £1 or was that insulting? Honest question. I need your answers, please. Honest question. Let me know in the chat. So Mandy wants to add an option to the poll. Watching sports, especially football and England games during an international tournament. It is a very different vibe. Also, I did go to a pub before a football match once, and that was a very different vibe as well. That's what I think that's I might add an option 6. It could be the versatility of the atmosphere. Like you can literally go and it be a party. You can go and it be a band and it'd be fun and interesting and you're dancing and you're drinking and it's kind of, clubbish. Or you can go and watch a football game or another international sport and, really just get behind it with the vibe. It's really exciting about the sport that's happening or the competition that's happening. Or you can go and just chill with your friends and have a pint and just relax at the end of the day or at the end of the week. Or you can go to like a beer garden kind of thing where your kids are playing outside or you're just sitting there having a glass of wine or whatever with your friends, catching up. Even a coffee, you don't even have to drink, right? You can just have a coffee or something. Or you can go for like a meal and enjoy the atmosphere and stuff. It's just, I think that's it. I've just hit on it. That's what I love about British pubs so much. They're literally everywhere, which is great. Easy access and all that. But also, each one has its own history. So I'm a history buff and I love that. So each one has its own story. And that's interesting to learn. But you can literally go to a pub for anything. You can go to a pub just to grab breakfast when you're, on a road trip. You can go to a pub to have a really, really good meal. You can just stop in to breathe and have a pint. Or it's great. We were at a pub once having lunch, and there was someone that came in who was coming off of a horse trail. They had literally left their horses outside. It was 2 of them. One of them stayed outside with the horses, obviously. They had just been riding on a trail. So they just came in for a pint. She grabbed the pint. She walked outside. They drank the pint, left the glasses, rode the horses back up to wherever they were going. That would never happen in America. I thought it was fantastic, but that's something like that would never happen in America. I just thought that's quintessentially British. I think the pubs are just very representative of British culture, in my opinion. What do you guys think? When I did, oh, okay, Chris, when I did bar work in a club, I would say the cheapest drink possible or £2. Gotcha. So you would say like either buy me just a cheap pint or £2. You have £2 coins here, right? Yeah, you have £2 coins here. So that makes sense. So we don't really have like $2 coins or $2. We have $2 bills, but they're not really like in mass circulation in America. That was about 40 years ago. I'm not too far behind you on that, Chris. It was a while ago for me too, so things may have changed since I've been going to the clubs, to be fair. In the American tipping culture, do you ever have problems convincing tax authorities how much you earned? Well, you're supposed to, at the end of your shift, you're supposed to claim the tips that you've earned. So wherever I work, this is of course my personal experience from like the 4 places that I've worked. When you are done with your shift, you have to go and have the conversation with your manager. You have to get, counted out and everything like that, because you also have to give a portion of your tips to, the people who expedited the food, or people who cleaned up the tables, right? The bus people. So you would get tipped out on that, and then you would have the money that you had left. They would do some kind of calculation. They had a program, and computer program, that figured out whatever the calculations were, and this is how much cash you walked out with. And then you would go and clock out, but when you clocked out, you couldn't actually clock out until you claimed how much you actually made. So I would have to say, oh, I made $60 in tips tonight, and then I was able to actually clock out. So it would go right to the federal government so that they could do what they had to do, or say I was lying at the end of the year when I filed my taxes or whatever. So to answer your question, it's just that it's really just more that they monitor everybody's taxes except the people who are really rich. You still have to claim it, yeah. Spalka says, back in the mid-'80s, I was in a bar in New York City and had a beer with Joe DiMaggio. Nice chap, I remember. Are you lying? Are you serious? Don't get me excited, because that is stellar shit right there. He was a Yankee. He was the shit. One of them. Oh, Falco. You better not be teasing me. I was just, you had the RBL stats up and that we couldn't hear you. Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, I was talking, and now I feel like I have to do that again, but it'll be in a community post. So I was just saying that we've had 80 pounds we've raised so far, and our goal is 1,000 pounds. So hopefully we can reach that goal. We're on a good starting path. Maybe we can push that momentum forward. I think I removed myself from the screen. That might be why. Look, I'm not a pro. This is not my day job. But if you guys want to make it my day job, I could get better. I'm committed to get better. But I have rent to pay and a kid to feed, so apparently I gotta pay for university as well. So TJ says, I used to say take your own when I worked behind a bar. We were told to take the odds. The drink costs £1.55, round it up to $2, same if it costs $1.90. Yeah. We've done something like that, like keep the change. Yeah, that's what we would say, keep the change. So if it's like a, £3.50 or £4 for the whole round or whatever, £4 for 2 pints or whatever, then we give them a 5 and say keep the change. But they would have to pay the till and then take the $1 and put it in a different tip jar. That was then. Again. And then with the credit cards, they would just add it, they just write it in or whatever, and then you just get cash at the end of the night. The max I'd tip a bartender is £5. Interesting. Because in America, I never tipped less than $5. But again, they make $2 an hour. So I always, even if I had a coffee, I would I would leave them like a tenner because I just like I've felt that pain, so I'm like that they deserve it. If I'm sitting in a diner at midnight just having a coffee, you deserve the extra money. Just take it. It's fine. Oh, you didn't have 2-pound coins back then? Okay, so that's a new thing? How new is it? I'm curious just how new it is. How much is a pint these days? I don't know. I don't drink beer, so I don't know. But I did have a rum and Diet Coke the other day when I was at the pub, and I was like almost 4 pounds. I was like, okay, yeah, this is why I can't do this every weekend. It's cheaper to drink my wild turkey at home. Plus, they never have wild turkey. Like, nobody ever has wild turkey in the bar. So I always have a rum and Diet Coke, and then I can only have a couple because the soda like fills me, and so it's not worth going to the pub to drink. I like to get drunk. I'll just get drunk with you guys. It's a flashback to New Year's Eve. Okay. When you left in 2004, it was under 2 pounds for a pint. You lived in the Northwest. Yeah, North, it's a little bit cheaper, right? 5 to 6 pounds for a pint. Your son just told you, Jesus. It's not worth it. It's just like the laws are so tough, and like I don't know. Unless you can walk, because you know, like if you can walk to your local, which there's a lot of local pubs you can walk to, right? Then you know, it might be worth it, I guess. Or if you, I know some people also that like they grew up in the pub, like their parents went to the pub and they go to the pub now, same pub, and their kids, you know, go with them, or one of them works there or whatever, like or they go there too, or some things, different scenarios like that. So I don't know if they get a discount or the pub's just cheap. I don't know. But I don't often buy the round. Usually my partner does. Is that bad? I did buy my last one though. Like I said, it was like almost 4 pounds, and I was like, what? And it wasn't even full. It was like that much. It was like rum and Diet Coke, and it was only filled up that much. And I was like, what the hell? I was kind of annoyed about that. I have to be perfectly honest, I very rarely tip. The only time I tip is when I receive exceptional service above and beyond. I understand that in this culture, because it's just a different culture, right? You don't have to worry about taking care of your servers and your waiters and your bartenders. It's just such a different vibe in America when it comes to that. I worked in a bar down the shore, and I was waiter and I was a bartender. And when I was waiting tables, most people would go out and have dinner. The restaurant was set on the beach, so most people go out and have dinner and then go out and party, right? So when I was waiting the tables, there wasn't a check less than like $100, because it was expensive food and you pay for the atmosphere, and almost everybody had a drink as well with their meal. It was summertime, it was the season. And then when I bartended, you would not get less than a couple pounds, a couple dollars for a round, but it would be like 4 or 5 drinks. So I actually made less money bartending than I did waiting tables, because they would tip on the whole amount of the check. So when you're bartending, you would only leave like $1 or $2 for the round, whereas when you were waiting tables, it would be like $100 or so. So you'd make like $20 per table. So if you turned your tables really quickly, you could walk out. I used to walk out with like $100 to $200 a night. I've always preferred waiting tables down there than I did bartending, which everybody thought was crazy. But I was like, I make more money. I'm not here to have fun. I'm here to make money. But then when I worked as a bartender in a restaurant, like that was not a specialty restaurant like that, I made more money bartending than I did waiting tables, because it was more of a relaxed atmosphere. But I don't blame you. Like you don't, but I didn't make any money. I didn't have an actual paycheck. So, and that everybody understands, most people in America understand that. And it is really funny. I remember having conversations and my friends having conversations with people who were foreign who would come to the bar, or even if we were just like sitting at a bar having a drink and people would come in or whatever, that we would explain to them, no, you need to tip a little bit more because they really don't make any money. And it's like a different situation. We were explaining the culture to them as well. And most people were completely baffled that they didn't make any money, which is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It's literal slave wages. Anyways, you were serving in the Royal Air Force at the time, huh? Oof. The first 2-pound coin was released on June 15th in 1998. It's that new, huh? Was that when they got rid of like the shillings and all that stuff too? Because I remember someone who's older telling me that they remember using like shillings and whatever the other ones were. That's the only one I ever remember. But they said it was not that long ago that they like stopped using the smaller coins and they started using the bigger notes and stuff. I think the GBT coin was around 98 or so. Yeah. You guys are in sync. My partner buying the round is Norm. Well, also he like knows what to do. Whereas I remember the first time I went up to a bar was when I had an argument with the bartender about tipping. So like I'm super intimidated. I don't want to insult anybody. So I'm like, you just tell me what to do. I remember making fun of my partner in America because he used to always ask me, even though he lived there for almost 20 years, he used to ask me, what should I tip? Like, what is a good tip? What would you tip them? And it was always on me to decide. Now it's the exact opposite. I'm like, do whatever you think is right. Do you tell me what to do? You tell me what to tip. You tell me if this is a ripoff or not. I have no freaking idea. It's pretty funny with how the dynamic has changed so much. Tell them to fill the glass with Diet Coke. It shouldn't cost anymore. That's fair. And I didn't think of that, but I could. But I'm just I don't want a glass of soda. I wanted the rum. I want to be able to taste the rum. It's the whole point. Most bar work waiters are around 11 pounds to 14 pounds an hour. Yeah, that's like minimum wage, right? So that makes sense. Like I don't have a problem with it being minimum wage. I just have a problem with the separate minimum wage for servers in America. This minimum wage in America is like $7.50, but waiters it's $2.15. At least it was when I did it. Mick says, I was crawling home from the pub one night and I got stopped by the police. They asked me, where are you going, sir? I said I was going to a lecture of the evils of alcohol. Did you get a ticket? Or did they let you off for cleverness? The old currency ended in 1978. Oh, okay. And the pound coin was introduced in 1983. So they just had a pound note? Then I always learn something new with you guys. This is why I like this stream. There is a 5-pound coin. I have a presentation of what's a presentation of a 5-pound coin, Disco. The decimal system came in 1971. You didn't have decimals before 1971? I'm a little confused now. A pound, yeah, you had a pound note. Okay, like we do. What was the reasoning behind creating a pound coin to circumvent the pound note and creating a 2-pound coin that seems gratuitous at the time? I'm just curious. And is it true that you really don't have a bill bigger than 100 pounds? That's also something that America has. We were in We were in a museum, the Prohibition Museum in Savannah, and there was an actual £1,000 $1,000 bill in the museum. They've discontinued that now. They don't, it's not in circulation anymore or anything like that. But it was a legit like £1,000, £1,000, do it again, $1,000 note. It's very difficult to translate back and forth, guys. Anyway, $1,000 note. And it was kind of cool to see it because I'd never seen it in real life before. I'm never gonna again, probably either. Adam Ant's song Goody Two Shoes, he references a pound note. Yes, I am that old. Special box because the job I did at the time. Oh, okay. That's fair. The highest is a £50 note. Okay, that's what I thought. So Mick goes on to finish his story. He says, the police officer said, but sir, it's almost midnight. Who holds lectures at this time of night? I said, you haven't met the wife, have you? Well done, Mick. Again, did you get a ticket though, or did he let you off? I'm really curious. I love that kind of stuff. TJ says pound, shillings plus pence was imperial. Metric is decimal. Oh, I got you. Okay. So imperial is what we use in the US, right? It's like feet, yards, miles, right? I think. I think that's right. Although you guys use like 5 different types of measurements depending on what you're measuring here, in all fairness. My dad, when I was young, convinced me our Scottish notes were worth more than the English ones. Well, I remember finding it. Someone gave me a £2 note for like my birthday or something like that when I was young. And my dad was like, save it, don't spend it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I remember I got to be like a teenager or something, and it was still like in my piggy bank. And I was like, this isn't going to be worth more than $2 probably ever. Like it literally says $2 on it. Like who's going to pay more for this? Whenever we're in like thrift shops and stuff and they have like the old money, I'm always like, is it really worth that much money? Like, is it really worth £1 or £2 when it was only like a shilling or threepence? That's 3 pennies, for God's sake. That's not worth £1. I'm not spending £1 on that. Anyways, I might do something like that one day though and send them home to my niece and nephew because they'll never see anything like that, right? But other than that, I wouldn't spend money on money. Although I do think it's interesting because we had at one point each of our states had different money. So each like state would have its own currency. And I do find that kind of stuff, it's kind of like interesting, like at a museum or something like that. And I know the Confederacy during the Civil War had their own money as well. And I do find that interesting to look at and observe and just see how money has evolved over the years as well. But it's not worth any more than, I mean, some of the stuff that's out of circulation completely might be. But other than that, like a quarter is not worth any more than a quarter just because it has something special on the back. It's still worth only a quarter. Only Scottish and Northern Irish banks are permitted to print the £100 note. Why? What difference does it make? Before 1970, when we had pounds, shillings, and pence, the was. I don't know what the was. Okay. You use miles still. Yeah, sometimes you use kilometers and sometimes you use miles. And sometimes you use stone and sometimes you use pounds. And sometimes you use feet. Sometimes you use centimeters. It's fucking confusing as hell. There's 240 pennies in a pound, 20 shilling in a pound, and 12 pennies in a shilling. There's 20 shillings in a pound, right? And 12 pennies in a shilling. That makes sense. 240 pennies in a pound. We have 100 pennies in a pound and $1, and 500 pennies and $5, and so on and so forth. I have 2 silver sixpence. Really? I'm old enough to remember decimalization. Yeah, well, there's nothing you could do about it, man. Time just creeps on, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Okay, so I have a couple questions, if you guys could answer them, okay? So you guys talk to me about the tipping. Is there a dress code, and is it dependent on the type of pub? Because I legit was in a pub once, and I swear it was their pajamas and slippers. And the reason it stood out to me is because, like, in America, everybody walks around in their pajamas because everyone's lazy as hell in America. But in the UK, it's very, very rare to see someone like walk. You see them in like track bottoms and stuff like that, but you don't see them walking around in pajamas. And it looked like pajama pants and slippers. Now, it could have been like there's like Uggs and stuff that look like slippers, but they're not really slippers. And there's also like pajama, like there's these new like I guess they're sweatsuits or track suits, but they're not, they're like cottony material or something. I don't know. I don't really like them. So I don't like, I think they look silly, but they're like the thing now. So it could have been something like that as well. But is there like, I assume there wasn't a dress code for that pub, obviously, but is that like a normal thing for people to just show up in whatever? I've never seen anyone in that before. And I've never seen anyone like dress up for pubs unless they're like going out to a really nice pub for dinner or something like that for like an occasion. But even then, it's still like smart casual. It's not like dressy. And when would you dress up like dressy like that? Because I've even gone to like the theater and stuff at the West End or like nice restaurants and people aren't like dressy. So maybe I'm just not going to nice enough restaurants. So I don't know. I'm curious about dress code, but particularly with the pub because of my personal experience with that. And another one is, what is the British half? What the hell does that mean? Because someone said that to me once and I didn't know what it was and they got distracted so I couldn't ask them. I'm very curious if you guys know, please. Curious minds want to know. Hi, AB Photography. Thank you for joining us. Glad you're here. Yes, please hit that like button if you can. The simplest thing like that actually helps out a lot, especially when we're live. Hi, Sam K. Thank you for joining. Glad you could make it. Daytime dress code is PJs and trackies. I'm not a huge fan of track bottoms, but I wear yoga pants a lot. But I still like get out of my PJs and wear the like put on yoga pants. Although I probably did go to like Walmart and stuff in America in my pajamas a couple times, especially when my daughter was young, because it was just easier to like just go that way. And to be honest, I don't really sleep in pajamas a lot. Like usually it is like leggings and a t-shirt or something anyway. But I mean, lots of people I know, they look like they rolled out of bed as well. Like they didn't even brush their hair, but I don't even know if they brush their teeth, like literally. But anyways, I'm curious. Help me out with dress code stuff, guys. Never known a dress code other than nightclubs. Okay, well, obviously I'm too old to go to a nightclub, so that shit ain't happening. Evening casual, smart casuals, night dressed to the nines. Yeah, but when would you dress to the nines? Like only to a wedding? Or like, is there another formal occasion that you would dress like that? I assume there's like 5-star restaurants and stuff in London and some of the other cities. But are there? I don't know. Like there are places in America that literally kick you out if you're not wearing like a dinner jacket and tie. So they won't let you sit. Doesn't matter how much money you got or anything. They won't let you in the restaurant. So is there a similar kind of like vibe at all here? But I usually only see people wearing like jeans and a nice sweater, maybe nice pants, and, maybe a jacket, like a dinner jacket or something. I don't, unless they're in like a office setting or something, I don't see them wearing suits and stuff that much. So I'm just really, really curious. Or maybe it's just the towns that I live in and go to because I don't obviously can't afford posh. Maybe it's just my settings. I'm just curious. I was out at a fairly local pub for a friend's birthday in the beer garden, 1 p.m. in casual clothes, and got to 7 p.m. and I wasn't allowed in the pub because of the dress code. Okay. So after hours, so at a certain time there was a dress code, probably because they were changing from like a pub lunch cash atmosphere. They probably had like a band or something, right? Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I can get with that. That makes sense. A half is a half pint. You have half pints? Is that really a thing? Okay. Half as in half pint. Half equals have, which is Old English. Is it half instead of half? Maybe I misheard them. I don't know. I've found, I think the reason the dress code thing is on my mind is because my job is gross. It's very dirty and gross. And I'll tell you stories about it later when it's appropriate. But I don't like to wear nice clothes there because I wore a really nice dress there that I really liked and I got something on it and I was fucking pissed. But it was because someone else was being sloppy and gross. So I was like, I'm not doing it anymore. So I only wear like this type of stuff, like hoodies, jeans, sweatshirts, like things that are just casual and I know like I can get shit out of the fabric and all that. So I actually really enjoy dressing up for work. I really enjoy dressing up and I have a bunch of dress up clothes that I can't wear. And I keep saying I'm going to be wearing them for this or that or this. And then it never seems to have the right occasion. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just like hoping to find something I can wear a dress to. Anyways, I get dressed up if I feel like it. I like looking at faces. Who would be making faces at you? I think you should dress however you want to dress when you're feeling it. Definitely. There are times when, like on a Saturday, especially if it's like a video day where I'm shooting or something, I'll like literally get dressed like I'm going to work. I'll do full hair, full makeup, and all that stuff. Sometimes you see me super dressy on here. Sometimes you see me super cash. Sometimes you see me no makeup or anything. I've never been to an establishment like that, Mandy, but I'm just common, obviously. I think I'm with you, Chris. Seriously. Like, I think maybe that's just my vibe. Could be. I remember, though, I dated someone who was a little bit above my station and lovely person, lovely person. But we used to go to a couple places like that. And I used to be like, I used to feel like out of place. So maybe that's in the back of my mind. Would a birthday suit be okay in a club? I know you're saying that technically it's still a suit, Sam, but I have a feeling that that might not fly. So, but you could try it and report back to us if you want. Were the jeans see-through? You could see their pants. Okay, when I say pants, I mean pants. Trousers would be the translation for y'all. It's not the underwear, like I know you guys say. Half pints are a thing, and it's wrong. They really sell half pints? Like I know that we had things like I know they have like different sizes for wine glasses and things like that. I didn't know they did for pints as well, like for beer. What's the point? What's the point of a half pint? I don't get it. I really think what we should do is we should get a film crew and we should film Sam doing this and we should post it on the channel. All I'm saying, Sam, is don't dish it out if you can't follow through. That's all I'm saying. Don't make suggestions if you can't follow through. We are accountable on this channel. TJ said we stayed in a 5-star hotel for hubby's 50th, and I was Dicky dollied up to the nines for the evening meal. Wait, did I say that right? Dicky dollied up to the nines. Does that mean super dressed? I guess obviously that means super dressed up for the evening meal. Like I said, I've been to a couple places like that for special occasions, but not often. It would be nice to be able to do that once in a while, though. It would be nice. But anyway. Dicky bow tie? Is that what you mean? Do you mean like you wore like a bow tie and tux kind of situation? I don't know. That's what I'm like. I've never seen anyone that had to wear a tux to dinner like that, unless it was a formal like, fundraiser or something like that, like maybe a formal like 50th or 60th party. But usually it's just a really nice suit, and then the woman would wear like a really nice dress or something. But like in New York or something like that. But New York is weird though, because some areas of it are, I'm sure it's like that in London and Liverpool and a lot of the other cities, but it's just like there's some places that are just not dressy in any way, shape, or form. And there's some places where it's like even walking by in jeans, you feel uncomfortable. Interesting. You need a tux on the QM2. What's the QM2? I don't know what that is. Manny says, I went on a few cruises, and on a couple of the evenings for the captain's meal, the dress code was strictly formal. No birthday suits, though. Oh, okay. Captain, I don't know what I've never been on a cruise, so is the captain's meal, obviously you dine with the captain, but is that something like that everybody gets to do while you're on the cruise? Like, is it like a special time, a special invitation you have to pay a special price for? I've never been on a cruise, so I don't know anything like that, but I guess. Is it worth it? Was it worth it? Was the food any better? Was it better? He wore a suit, but I would not have looked at a place if he did not have a tux on. I would not have looked at a place if he did have a tux on. Oh, I get you. Okay. Yeah. The QM2 is a Cunard liner. The Queen Mary 2. Okay. Okay. I got you now. I just didn't know what the hell that was. That's all. The Queen Mary 2. I know what that is. Okay. Mick says, back in the day, a long time ago, there was a measure called a pony. It was a third of a pint. Again, what's the point? Unless, I guess that's all you could afford? It was a popular thing with older men, and it was a pony and a whiskey chaser. See, again, a pony and a whiskey chaser. That doesn't make sense. The whiskey should be first, because usually chasers are for people who can't hold their shit. Just saying. Anyway, if you're going to have a whiskey chaser, which is usually a shot of whiskey or a finger or two of whiskey, right? What's the point of the third of a pint? I'm just saying. Sam would have been barred from this. The food was fantastic and a proper 5-course meal. Worth it then, I guess, huh? Okay. Look, I will try anything. I always wanted to try one of those meals where it's like 7 courses or whatever, and they just keep bringing you food. Basically, I probably would throw up halfway through because it'd be too much. But okay, I have another question. Can you go to a pub for a drink at the bar and not engage in conversation? Can you just go, order your drink, and just sit there and wallow? Also, what are the actual deciding factors in picking your local pub? Like, how do you determine? Because there's pubs everywhere. So, how do you determine that, oh, this is going to be my local pub? And then, if you just are having a bad day, or maybe you're just like, whatever, you just need a drink for whatever reason, and you go and you just want to have a drink, you order it and you just sit there, can you not engage in conversation? Because every bartender that I've been to in pubs here want to have a conversation with you, even if it's just for like 2 minutes, even if it's just for a minute, they want to have a conversation with you. So is that just a British thing? Is that a pub thing? So would I be able to just like walk in and just be like, give me a pint? I've never said give me a pint. Let's start over. Give me a rum and Diet Coke and then leave me the fuck alone. Or would I have to like leave the bar and go into a corner or a table on my own to be left alone? Like, can I sit at the bar and not be bothered? Is that a thing here? I did have a suit on the Tenterden Light Railway. My wife and I myself had a 6-course meal. Oh, I remember you mentioning that before, and you said it was good. So, taxi fare, assuming you need to have taxi fare, I would assume. Drunks just sit in pubs without talking to anyone. That's fair. But I guess my main question is, can you sit at a bar without having a conversation with the bartender? Or do you have to go and sit at a table by yourself? Because in America, you could just sit at the bar and usually the bartender won't bother you unless you try to engage with them in some way. Yes, you can wallow. Pubs were where you found the boring nerds before social media appeared. Really? Boring nerds were in the fucking coffee houses in America, not in the bars at all. My husband just told me that he remembers that some pubs you to sell all sorts, which meant the dregs of the pints. I don't understand what you said, Lorena. I'm so sorry. My husband just told me that he remembers that some pubs used to sell. I'm sure you meant used to sell the all sorts, which were the dregs of the pints. Is that like the bottom of someone else's fucking beer? Is that what that is? Because if that's what it is, that's fucking gross. Excuse my language, because I know a lot of people don't like when I curse, but it comes out. Is that what that is? Please tell me it's something else. Please tell me that I'm misinterpreting that, because that's gross. I'm saying, Mick, what is the point of the pony? If it's just as like tell the wife or tell the partner, yeah, I just had a pony. And forget about the whiskey as if you can't tell that you just had 5 shots of whiskey. Oh, Lorena, I'm stuck on your comment. I'm sorry. What is dregs of the pints? All right, I'm just going to look it up. Small solid particles that settle at the bottom of a pint of liquid such as beer, wine, or coffee. Dregs are usually not consumed. The dregs in beer are made up of yeast and protein particles. Some say that the dregs can muddle the flavor. Ew! 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 I've had a lot of weird shit in my mouth, but ew. Oh. I need more water. Ugh. Yeah, I'm completely with you on that, Lorena. Oh my God, that's gonna stay with me. Disco said, "Round near me, some of the local pub arranged something special for people's wait." Actually, unfortunately, when we first got here, we did have to go to a wake, and it was at their local pub, which was kind of fun, obviously, because there was a connection there and everything like that. But then they didn't close it down for very long, and they started letting like the locals in and stuff, and it was just a little bit uncomfortable because obviously we were trying to celebrate the life, and then it got interrupted by all these strangers and stuff. So that was a little bit strange, but it was a different experience, definitely. And obviously, because it was their local pub, it was pretty cool. I have to say, and it was right on the Thames. It was a very old pub, and it was right on the Thames. And it was so cold. I remember it was really, really cold, and it looked like it was in the middle of like an abandoned shipyard and stuff. It was really great. I did a short about it actually because I was so intrigued by it. It was mentioned in a couple of Charles Dickens novels and stuff. So it was a really interesting pub. It was a very interesting experience. I don't know what I would do. I don't want people to like don't waste money on like a party. Don't waste money on anything like that. I'm pretty sure I told my partner to just take my ashes somewhere with the child and have some fun. Or every time you go on a trip, take some of my ashes and sprinkle them there as if I'm with you. I'm like, don't do anything else. Don't waste your fucking money. Put me in a box, burn it out, go from there. Manny said on the cruise liner we went on, there were 20 decks. Depending on which deck you went on, the cuisine they had would differ and cater for those cultures. So I still want to go on a cruise again. Here's my thing about cruises. I get seasick. If I'm in the fresh air, like if I'm on a sailboat or something, not nearly as bad. But my concern about going on a cruise is that I'm not going to be able to sleep properly because it's going to be like stuffy and everything. And if I'm having a rough time, I have nowhere to go. So I get nervous about it. Although when we were in Greece, I went on a day trip on a sailboat, on a boat, and it wasn't that bad. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I know the bigger the boat, the better it is, supposedly, but I can always feel it. Can always feel it. But I've never been on a cruise ship, in all fairness. My RBF tells people not to talk to me. RBF? I don't know what RBF is. Am I missing something? Of course, you can sit at the bar. But can you sit at the bar and not have a conversation with the fucking bar person? Just leave me alone. I suppose it would be different if it's like your local bar, right? Like you can't sit at your local bar and not have a conversation with the bartender because they would be like, "What's wrong?" Right? But if you're just like a stranger, like maybe they at least always want to talk to me because they know I'm from out of town. I don't know. A lot of older people go to the pub just for the company. That's fair, and I think that's a good place. Like I don't, as long as you're not obviously abusing it and becoming, honoring or having a problem in any way. But I think that's great. It's always good to have a place to go. I I'm working on a video actually about some tips for people that might be like lonely or having a hard time adapting to a new surrounding as I've learned how to cope. And one of the things I have is just go to like a restaurant or a coffee shop or a pub and just sit there. There's people there. You'll feel, you'll still feel part of society and humanity. So I get that totally. People do sit at the bars enjoying the life out of people trying to get served. Annoying the life. Sorry, I misread that. Annoying the life out of people trying to get served. Is that not etiquette? Like, is it not custom to sit at the bar? Like, it's customary to go to a table, right? Here. There's a lot of Americans researching UK lifestyles a lot on YouTube lately. Yeah. There's like a mass exodus of the United States right now. In the last few years or so. It's gotten like, you guys, it's just gotten bad. Like I said in the beginning of the stream, it's hard for people who are everyday normal people like us trying to just like survive. It's getting harder and harder and harder. And there's just the wealth gap is humongous right now in the United States. And it's not getting any better. It's getting a lot worse. And I hate to say this because I don't like to be a downer. I'd like to try to be positive. But I feel like that Trump's going to instill a global recession. So just be careful, guys. Just make sure you're taking care of yourselves and preparing. Because I lived through the first Trump presidency in America, and it wasn't fun. Anyways, moving on. There's dregs equals the last of the barrel. That's kind of desperate. I feel like if you're drinking that, I think that's a desperate thing. It's a desperate cause. Yes, indeed, the all sorts were sold for the price of half pints. Hence the ew. Yeah, I'm with you. Ew. Yeah, you want ew t-shirts? I used to annoy my partner all the time because I used to be like, ew. I used to say that a lot more. I don't say it as much because it annoys him, but I do every once in a while come out with an ew, and my daughter will do it too. It's a very Americanism thing. Ew. I do like an now. I've modified it. I'm like, when I'm annoyed about something, or when something rubs me the wrong way. Anyway, there's a lot of Americans researching every country at the moment. They don't seem very happy with what they have. Yes. When I go and meet my maker, money put by to have a party. That's fair. I think that's the better way to go. Don't make it a sad thing. Don't make it a big deal. Like, just don't. I would rather you not waste your money even on the party. Personally, for me, like, everyone should do whatever they want to do, or whatever they want their loved ones to do. But I'm just like, just take me on a trip with you. I don't know if you can get ashes on a plane or how that would work, but that's not for me to figure out. Anyways, oh, thank you so much for the super chat, Sam, and towards the EU t-shirts, huh? All right, we'll see what we can do. Merch. Do you think the channel is big enough to start offering merch? I don't know. On cruise ships, there's stabilizers so you don't feel the rocking much. Really? Okay. It's good to know. Seasickness can be a problem. The Bay of Biscay is a nightmare. I don't know if that's a joke or not. I don't know what the Bay of Biscay is. Seasickness has ruined my life in a lot of ways. I get motion sickness, period. So whenever I'm on a plane, whenever I'm on a train, whenever I'm in the car too long, or whenever I'm on the fucking boat. But I have some coping mechanisms. Like if I have Diet Coke on me, I don't like to drink. I'm trying not to drink as much soda with my weight issue and everything. But if I have some Diet Coke on me, that helps. Especially on a plane. But as long as I have some kind of like fizzy drink, I'm usually okay. Diet Coke seems to work the best, and I need to make sure I just have like something substance in my stomach. Like I need some kind of like starch or something in my stomach. Then it's easier for me to handle. And of course, I take my Dramamine and stuff too, but sometimes it's just rough. Like you just can't help it. But I'm not gonna let that stop me. I'm still gonna travel as much as I can. The only time you can feel the rocking is, unfortunately, the sea is very rough. The Bay of Biscay is one of the worst places I've been told because it can be horrendously bad. Great. Okay, let's. I don't know where that is. Where is the Bay of Biscay, you guys? The English Channel section, I assume, something along that. Oh, it's below the English Channel. Oh, okay, towards south of France and Spain. Got you. Do you think it's because of the coves cut out? Probably, because I know the Gulf of Mexico was like that as well. So this probably has something to do with how the sea surrounding the land. Just an educated guess. The U.S. is crazy right now. I'm Mexican American, so it's particularly nerve-wracking. Oh my gosh. Yeah, please stay safe. Oh, thank you, Lorena. I'm glad you're having fun. Yeah, just stay safe. Just watch your back. Jesus. I just say that to everybody now for everything. It's just a tumultuous world right now. TJ says, I can see the US government blocking YouTube because of all the YouTubers spreading the word about the rest of the world. Well, you see, YouTube's owned by Google, and Google is one of the owner of Google was actually at the inauguration. So I think he gave money to Trump's inauguration. So he might be all right. So we might be cool. We might be cool. Basically, if you line the president's pocket, you're okay. The Bay of Biscay is west of Portugal, rough as hell. Great. So basically, you're telling me to drive to Spain. Happening right now in the Shetland Isles, there is a torchlight procession to celebrate their Norse heritage. It's called Uphelly. You all should check it out. Uphelly. I will check it out, Mick. Thank you. Just realized I wrote resting bitch face and I didn't write what's referenced to earlier. Someone wrote RBF and you said you didn't know what I mean. Oh! RBF is resting bitch face. Okay, that's cool. I've never heard it like just abbreviated that way. That's all. That's cool. I'm not up on all the lingo, guys. What do I think of somebody saying the USA is better than the UK? I just want them to explain to me why. That's all. I don't have a problem with anyone thinking what they think. I think everyone should have the freedom to believe what they believe and think what they think. I might argue with them on some points. I might, debate them on some points, but at the end of the day, you're going to think what you think. And everyone's perspective has bias to it. It's based on your education, your upbringing, your exposure, whatever environment you've lived in, or more than one environment that you lived in, whatever, interactions that you've had in your life. So I'm not going to sit here and judge you because you have a different opinion than I do about things in the US. The only things that I will maybe judge you for, maybe get a little bit more heated about are when you try to gaslight me or when you try to tell me my opinion is wrong because you haven't experienced the same thing. Like there's a lot of people that will comment things like, I've never had an interaction with guns. Guns are not an issue. Where are you living? That kind of thing. And I'm like, my child had to go to school with an armed police officer, not just armed with a gun, but armed with a gun and a taser and threatening to arrest the kids. So that's not an environment that I'm comfortable in. And if you are, then that's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with it. But I wasn't comfortable with that. And everybody has their own experiences. Some people have never had an issue. Some people have never had problems with the police. Some people have never, felt the pinch of the corruption or of medical care or anything like that. And I think that's great. Like, if you're that privileged, that's a fantastic position to be in and good for you. But just that doesn't make it non-existent. So my only thing is, just don't act like it doesn't exist or that your opinion's the only opinion. That's all. I'm open to debates though. And if you've been on this channel, you've seen that. I really do try not to, get too political, but if you ask me my opinion, I'm going to be honest with you. We don't hold back on this channel. On that note, we didn't get to any of the reacts that I was going to do or anything like that, but maybe I will do them for bonus content later. So I'm going to end it there. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you for all your generosity and your support. You guys know how much it means to me, but I'm going to reiterate it again. I always enjoy spending this time with you guys. It is the most fun I have all week in most cases. I always get tired and I'm always like, I tried to have a show tonight. I have to get my show. I gotta get my the head game on. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I get my head in the game. I gotta get in show mode. And the minute that I start like getting into it, I'm hooked. So, and it's all because of you guys, just keeping it real and keeping it fun and interesting. If you're interested in learning more about my life here in the UK or cultural differences, or you have any questions like that for me, feel free to leave them in the comments, join our chats, make sure that you're subscribing. If you can hit the like button on your way out, that helps as well. And don't forget to join us next Tuesday and every Tuesday at 8 p.m. UK time for more exciting live reacts if we ever get to them. But fun discussions and real live chats. Let's make the next show even better together, because it's only better with you. Have a great week, guys. Stay safe. Thank you again for everything, and I'll see you next time.